Welcome to the Global Dialogue. I'm Shareen Bhan, and it is my pleasure to welcome back on the program the Global CEO of Novartis, Vas Narasimhan, here in Hyderabad, joining us at the Novartis facility in the city. Vas, it's always great to have you back on the program. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shareen. Always great to see you.
Well, 2023 has been a milestone year for Novartis in many ways, but let's talk about India since you are here. You've just announced a strategic review of the Novartis India business, which is different from the healthcare side of the business, which is a different entity altogether. We're talking about the listed entity here. What is driving this strategic review? What do you intend to do with that 70.68% stake that Novartis AG has in Novartis India?
Well, Shareen, as you outlined, we have two entities here in India, NIL and NHPL. With the Novartis India Limited, this is an entity that markets our older brands. These are brands that are established brands that we launched sometimes 20 or 25 years ago. We often market these with partners, our recent partnership with Dr. Reddy's, with great success, and I think we've seen good progress. But the strategic question is, are we the right owner for that entity, given that our future investment will primarily be through NHPL, where we house this beautiful site here where you're at, where we have over 8,300 people, as well as all of our future launch medicines. So that's the strategic consideration we're undergoing. No decisions have been taken, and we'll see how it unfolds.
Yes, in your release, you've also said that you don't know whether you will be able to arrive at a conclusion within the year or not. But would Dr. Reddy's make the strategic fit? You've already got an exclusive arrangement with Reddy's starting 2022 for almost 50% of sales that Novartis India has. Would it make sense then to do a deal with Reddy's? Are you in talks with them?
I can't comment, obviously, on specific opportunities or companies, but certainly the thought process is to see, is there a better owner for this business than Novartis? And we'll have to see now, as we've started the strategic review, what kind of offers we get. Is it better for us to continue to own this listed entity, or to partner it, or to sell it to another logical buyer? So we'll see how it goes. Too soon to say at the moment.
Has price control been an issue and a challenge as you operate in India on the commercial side? Because I'm given to understand that almost 30% of the brands under Novartis India are under price control.
Certainly, we think the pricing environment should improve in India for innovative medicines. However, our strategic thought here is not driven by any specific pricing policy. It's really much more in the long run. Are we the logical owners of a business that's housing much more established older medicines than our current focus?
So the focus on Novartis India, whether it is or you believe that it's no longer a strategic fit as you look at the future, but you want to continue to double down on healthcare?
Well, when you think about NHPL, which has our exciting new launches, incredible medicines like our medicine Cosentyx in immunology or Entresto for heart failure, we continue to invest in those new medicines and those new launches, wanting to bring them to as many people as we can within India. But then also when you think about this Hyderabad center, our Novartis corporate center, which we really consider as one of the extensions of our headquarters in Basel and some of our major sites in East Hanover. This is now an 8,300 person operation in India. We're growing 10%. I would expect us to be at over 9,000 people by the end of this year. And I would foresee us to continue to grow at a double-digit rate as we continue to build out capabilities in R&D, in IT and data science, as well as all of our core functions. Two areas we're now looking to invest into Hyderabad are in research, so basic research, which would be a significant expansion of our current footprint, as well as expanding our U.S. marketing operations as well into India.
Okay, so you're expanding the operations at Genome Valley, which is where you have your facility, as well as expanding operations here in the facility that we're currently at. What would that typically mean in terms of incremental investments?
Well, if you think about our total dollar investment right now, it's around $400 million annually we invest into India, and we estimate that actually translates into around $1.5 billion of investment into the entire ecosystem. So we would expand 10% in terms of people. I don't have the exact dollar figure, but I think you could assume that continued steady investment into India through these various footprints.
So you've got 4 priority markets that you've identified, the U.S., China, Germany, and Japan. India clearly not part of that 4 market list that you have. But from an R&D perspective, from a capabilities perspective, how strategic is India for your plans going forward?
India has become incredibly strategic. Now, as you know, over the last 7 years, we've done this transformation of Novartis. We've done over $100 billion of transactions. We're a pure-play medicines company. Last year, we had record performance. And when you look at our performance last year, 10 positive phase 3 trials, every one of those trials were touched by our Indian operations. Every one of those trials, the submissions of those trials to global regulators happens through our Hyderabad center. We get some of the best talent in the world here. And so really what we see is Hyderabad becoming a talent story, a transformation story for enabling us to get more and more medicines to patients around the globe.
On the trial side, because you said that virtually every trial that you're currently in the process of undertaking has been touched by the India operation in some shape or form, how has that environment changed? How facilitative and enabling have things become now from a trials perspective in India?
So in India, I believe we're still the #1 operator of clinical trials in the country. And we have seen improvements with DCGI in terms of the speed at which clinical trial applications are being processed. Obviously, we always would want things to go faster, but we see an improving environment in terms of operating our clinical trials here. And India is generally involved in our key global clinical trials. I think the next step, of course, is to continue to encourage the government to invest through the outstanding programs that we have now for the National Health Insurance Program to enable investment into the next innovative medicines. As you know, that's always a struggle given the price between generics and innovative medicines. But I think that's the next opportunity here in India. Then we could grow our Indian operations through the Healthcare Limited from a $200 to $300 million operation, we hope, over time, to a much larger business.
Let's talk about 2023, which is, as I pointed out, been a milestone year for you because you've completed the transformation that you undertook almost a decade ago. Vas, as you look at where you are today and the many trials that are underway, and you said that it's been a banner year for Novartis in terms of R&D in 2023. What gives you the most confidence about the pipeline that you're sitting on?
You know, at first it's really hard.
Simple English.
Just for anyone to understand, it's very hard to get a few clinical trials to work when you have 10 phase 3 clinical trials, and I've been working in R&D at Novartis for nearly 20 years. It is really challenging, and to have that happen is incredible. The medicines I'm most excited about come in, I think, 2 categories. One, we have these medicines that are in completely new technology areas. So one we have is called radioligand therapy, which allows you to target radiation to cancer, solid tumor cancers. And we have really exciting data on prostate cancer there, and then we're investing to build out an entire portfolio of cancer medicines on this technology. So I think those kinds of new technology platforms are really, really exciting. And then more broadly, our efforts in new areas of medicine, like renal diseases, so kidney diseases. We had 3 positive phase 3 readouts in kidney disease. And this, of course, offers patients with kidney diseases whole new opportunities to live healthier lives. I think those are 2 examples of how Novartis invests in cutting-edge science and then hopefully translates them to medicines in the market.
You know, talking about cutting-edge science, and I know you wrote that essay where you talked about how you believe that this is an inflection point because of the speed of science and the speed of knowledge. And now we're talking about a world of generative AI. You've, of course, just done an acquisition of a Google DeepMind company as well. Explain to me from a pharma perspective, I mean, where are we at in terms of using generative AI, and what could that potentially mean over the next few years from a discovery and development perspective?
Well, from a discovery and development perspective, it's very early days. But the opportunity would be, could AI help us understand the mysteries within the human body? So if you think about it, estimates would say we only understand 5 to 10% of what's happening in the 40 trillion cells that are in you and me, as to how they react with one another, how do the systems and biology work. Could AI help us understand that more quickly? And then when we try to design a drug to impact one of those processes in the body, could we design the drug even better with AI? Those are the kinds of questions we're asking with Isomorphic Labs, the partnership we struck with the Google DeepMind company, Microsoft Research Labs. We also have a partnership with Palantir. All of these are trying to explore that idea of could we make fundamental discoveries more quickly and then translate them into medicines that hopefully get through the clinic at a higher rate than what we currently see. The truth is that we won't know for 7 to 10 years because, of course,
so it's still 7 to 10 years out.
It's much farther away than I think the hype cycle would tell you. Simply because just because you find something, we won't know until it gets to phase 2, 3 clinical trials whether it really works.
So what do you make of the hype cycle, as you called it, as far as generative AI is concerned? Because, I mean, it's sort of almost like this magic wand, silver bullet that's going to solve all of humanity's problems. How do you see it?
I think the truth is in the middle. I think in some places like productivity, I think this will allow our people to focus on much more complex problems. I think it can simplify the ways we work, make things much more efficient in an operation like ours. I think when we get to much more complex, fundamental scientific questions, I think we should probably be measured and humble as to how this will actually unfold. I think it will help us. I'm not yet convinced it will lead to a complete breakthrough, at least not in its current form. Now, the question is, over time, if we invest and we teach these systems how to understand biology, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, could it change things? Absolutely. And I think that's why companies like us have to invest in these AI models.
Well, we are going to take a break here on the Global Dialogue and continue our conversation with Vas Narasimhan of Novartis when we return.